Hello. So one of the things that I've been working on recently is going through the 900 plus pages on the Russian interference in our elections in 2016. The fifth volume was released this year in 2020. Um, it's going to be a series of videos where I discuss what's in it, and the people that were involved. I'm going to start that out by discussing Paul Manafort briefly. This isn't going to be a long video, it's going to be a who's who of the criminal element. For ease of understanding, I'm going to utilize Wikipedia's description on Paul Manafort. But when we're actually discussing him later on in future videos, it's going to be directly from the Bipartisan Senate Report. Alexandra Chalupa and Gaslight Nation podcast also cover him in detail. If you have other resources that give insight, then please link them. So I'm utilizing Wikipedia for this because it's easy. You can go in and you can click on names and events, and also where you see the little numbers there, those are footnotes that allow you to see where they're getting some of their information from. So it's easier to test their bibliography out and fact check. In any case, in February 2016, Manafort approached Donald Trump through a mutual friend, Thomas J. Barrack Jr. He pointed out his experience advising presidential campaigns in the United States and around the world, describing himself as an outsider not connected to the Washington establishment, and offered to work without salary. The Senate report also discusses how Roger Stone was influential in him getting added to the Trump campaign team. In March 2016, he joined Trump's presidential campaign to take the lead in getting commitments from convention delegates. On June 20th, 2016, Trump fired campaign manager Corey Lewandowski and promoted Manafort to the position. Manafort gained control of the daily operations of the campaign, as well as an expanded $20 million budget, hiring decisions, advertising, and media strategy. On June 9, 2016, Manafort, Donald Trump Jr., and Jared Kushner were participants in a meeting with Russian attorney Natalia Veselnitskaya and several others at Trump Tower. A British music agent saying he was acting on behalf of Emin Agalarov and the Russian government had told Trump Jr. that he could obtain damaging information on Clinton if he met with a lawyer connected to the Kremlin. For those that don't know, the Kremlin is basically the Washington D.C. of Russia. It's their capital. At first, Trump Jr. said the meeting had been primarily about the Russian ban on international adoptions in response to the Magnitsky Act. The Magnitsky Act is an act that is designed to punish individuals that are committing crimes, and it sanctions them, and it makes sure that none of our money goes towards them, and it's in response to a murder that happened to a man named Magnitsky. Actually, we can look at that just real quick. The Magnitsky Act, formerly known as the Russia and Moldova Jackson-Vanik Repeal and Sergei Magnitsky Rule of Law Accountability Act of 2012, is a bipartisan bill passed by the United States Congress and signed into law by President Barack Obama in December 2012, intending to punish Russian officials responsible for the death of Russian tax lawyer Sergei Magnitsky in a Moscow prison in 2009, and also to grant permanent normal trade relations status to Russia. Okay? Anyway, at first, Trump Jr. said the meeting had been primarily about the Russian ban on international adoptions and mentioned nothing about Mrs. Clinton. He later said the offer of information about Clinton had been a pretext to conceal Veselnitskaya's real agenda. In August 2016, Manafort's connections to former Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych and his pro-Russian Party of Regions drew national attention in the U.S., where it was reported that Manafort may have received $12.7 million in off-the-books funds from the Party of Regions. We'll talk about Yanukovych later on. He's another one of our cast of characters. On August 7, 2016, Donald Trump received his first security briefing. The same day, August 12th, Trump shook up his campaign organization in a way that appeared to minimize Manafort's role, because this is generally his modus operandi. As soon as something controversial happens, he distances himself. It was reported that members of Trump's family, particularly Jared Kushner, who had originally been a strong backer of Manafort, had become uneasy about his Russian connections and suspected that he'd not been forthright about them. We will see through looking at the bipartisan report that this is not necessarily the case. Manafort stated in an internal staff memorandum that he would remain the campaign chairman and chief strategist, providing the big picture long-range campaign vision. However, 2 days later, Trump announced his acceptance of Manafort's resignation from the campaign after Steve Bannon and Kelly Conway took on senior leadership roles within that campaign. The only one that's still there is Kelly Conway. Steve Bannon is currently embroiled in his own issues, and we'll talk about him too. Upon Manafort's resignation as campaign chairman, Newt Gingrich stated, "Nobody should underestimate how much Paul Manafort did to really help get this campaign to where it is now." Yeah, Gingrich. Gingrich later added that for the Trump administration, it makes perfect sense for them to distance themselves from somebody who apparently didn't tell them what he was doing. In January 2019, Manafort's lawyers submitted a filing to the court in response to the allegation that Manafort had lied to investigators. Through an error in redacting, the document accidentally revealed that while he was campaign chairman, Manafort met with Konstantin Kilimnik, another one of the people that we'll be discussing, who is believed to be linked to Russian intelligence. The filing says Manafort gave him polling data related to the 2016 campaign and discussed the Ukrainian peace plan with him. Most of the polling data was reportedly public, although some was private Trump campaign polling data. Manafort asked Kilimnik to pass the data to Ukrainians Serhiy Lyovochkin and Rinat Akhmetov. During a February 4th, 2019 closed court hearing regarding false statements Manafort had made to investigators about his communications with Kilimnik, Special Counsel Prosecutor Andrew Weissman told Judge Amy Berman Jackson that this goes, I think, very much to the heart of what the Special Counsel's office is investigating, suggesting that Mueller's office continue to examine a possible agreement between Russia and the Trump campaign. I'm going to skip some of this background here because we're going to cover this actually when we're actually paging through the bipartisan Senate report. Okay. It is a lot. So, lobbying for foreign countries requires registration with the Justice Department under the Foreign Agents Registration Act, or FARA. Manafort did not do so at the time of his lobbying. In 2017, April, a Manafort spokesman said Manafort was planning to file the required paperwork. However, according to Associated Press reporters, as of June 2nd, 2017, Manafort had not yet registered. On 27th of June, he filed to be retroactively registered as a foreign agent. Among other things, he disclosed that he made more than $17 million between 2012 and 2014 working for a pro-Russian political party in Ukraine. The sentencing memorandum submitted by the Office of Special Counsel on February 23, 2019 stated that the filing was plainly deficient. Manafort entirely admitted his United States lobbying contracts and a portion of the substantial compensation Manafort received from Ukraine. Okay? So, this is what I wanted to really discuss on Paul Manafort before we go into the documents. The next one will be on Roger Stone. I'll probably release that tomorrow. I'll do my news that I normally do, and then I'll release my video covering a brief background on Roger Stone. Most of this is just to get us understanding the cast of characters as we read through the heady article, not article, but the heavy document. It's a lot, but I'm not going to go page by page. I have certain pieces that are highlighted. This is the hunk of a man, Manafort. He's currently serving house arrest because he was allowed out of prison due to coronavirus concerns. You know, lie and betray our country, but you know, as long as you're a Trump man, you get better treatment, right? In any case, that's what it is. I'm at WIKWEK on Twitter. If you like, please share. Thank you.